I'd like to welcome to the stage Winnie Lee, the COO of Appier, and she's going to be interviewed by Arthur Chen, who's here standing next to me from AlumVest. So thank you, Arthur.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Arthur Chen, the managing partner at AlumVest and Come Up Capital. We manage and invest in a portfolio of high-tech ventures in the United States and Asia with a very strong dedication to supporting the youth entrepreneurship. So I think I would begin with a question that would come up. Why do we pick Appier as the section's speaker? Appier, I think, is one of the most amazing company in artificial intelligence company in Taiwan because as the Taiwanese startup icon, Appier not only has expanded business across the world, but also served more than 500 brands, including those big names like Heineken, Nike, L'Oreal, and IKEA. So I think as a company that with very strong entrepreneurial spirit, and Winnie, you come close, having a very special background. You were trained as an immunologist and has served in the field for like over 10 years. So can you share a little bit with us that why did you make this career transition and join Appier and become an entrepreneur? Maybe you can spend like a couple minutes talking about Appier and you and what you have learned through this entrepreneurial journey.
Sure, happy to. So thanks for the very kind introduction. So talking about, so this is actually a long story, but I'll try to make it short. I think a lot of people, including yourself, since you are also an entrepreneur yourself previously, so I think you will agree when a company was very small, usually without a pre-existing brand name or proven success previously, it's actually very hard to onboard and recruit the best talents out there. And usually at that stage, what people normally do is to recruit from family and friends who will no matter how support them. So that's how this is one of the biggest reasons why I joined this team. So Chihan and I, so Chihan is our CEO, we enter, so I met our CEO and our CTO during our studies in the US. And Jihan and I entered Stanford the same year. And then after that, he moved on to Harvard to get his PhD training in artificial intelligence. And
in
that's
fact, I just hear that Ching-Han was named as the young global leader by the World Economy Forum just yesterday, right?
Yes, we're very happy to see that.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. So we work very hard for that. not for this title selection, but for the company itself. So
and only just one Asian AI company under this year. So
I think AI is a newly developed area, and a lot of companies are catching up. And of course, US is always, as all the other cutting edge innovation, US is at the front. But I think Asia very soon, with all the talents we have, will be able to catch up. And so when Chihan moved on to Harvard to get his PhD training, that's where he met our CTO, Joe. They were actually in the same program and happened to be roommate, and that's how everything started. And so when I joined the company, actually I already knew Chihan for 8 years and Joe for about 6 years. And so I have strong confidence in these guys, in the expertise they have in their own field. So Chihan is a very strong AI scientist, and Joe is actually a very talented system engineer. So I have faith in these two guys, and I believe we all came from different backgrounds and have a very diversified skill set. And most importantly, we have very strong bond and trust with each other. So I think with this, we will be able to build great products, great technology, and a great company together. So that's how I decided to join. And on the other hand, for more like a personal interest, is that I myself, as you can see, I was trained as an immunologist. And the reason why I was so into academia was because I was doing cutting edge research as well, and I always
what kind of research?
Cutting edge research as well. So I always love to, for myself, I love new challenges and love learning new things all the time. And I think that this is actually very similar to the startup life.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't probably you wouldn't imagine how similar it is to do research and the academia versus the life in a startup world. So I can share with you how I view this, and then I think you will agree with me. So usually when I was in academia, when we enter a field, you need to first know the field and study the field really well, and then after that, you try to figure out what's the most important question that has not been answered in the field. And then once you identify that question, then you need to try your best to answer that question well and then publish it the fastest before anybody else could. And I think this is exactly the same to a startup world. So this is what I love about, and that's more like a personal reason why I joined. Yeah.
Yeah, building on what you have shared, I would like to dive into more about the Appier's AI technology. So I wonder, can you tell me more about the what you have done so far, and how could you help the marketers navigate, the complexity and help predict how people, travel across the smartphone, the tablets, the TV, and the cell phones, and what's the best way, and what's the core competency you have now, and the unfair advantage, of course.
I would say so. Since I won't be able to share all the algorithms here with everybody, so I think I will say more like the vision we have. So for us, since the strength is we have the strength in AI and data analysis, and so we try to utilize this to help all the business to utilize AI as a solution better and help themselves to grow and succeed in this current cross-screen era. And the reason why we say this cross-screen era is because nowadays, as you just mentioned, most of the people, all the consumers own multiple devices, and they are like migrating across different devices back and forth. And it's really difficult from business side versus the consumer side. They all encounter difficulties. So on the business side, most of the business feel difficult to reach their users in the right way and understand them better to provide better service to their end user. But on the consumer point of view, as the number of devices they own and the type of devices they own, it becomes more and more difficult to receive synchronized and cohesive message from all the people who try to send messages to them. So this is actually one big challenge that we saw, and that's the reason why we tap into this area. But also, on top of this, we are also trying to help not only for the marketing solution, but other type of data. So nowadays, I think most of the people, most of the big companies or medium size of companies, they all know data is very important, and everybody is trying to understand how to utilize their data better. But then not very many people out there, as you know, like AI talent, AI scientists are not that many in the world, not even only in Asia, but like in the world. So it's very hard to.
Appier's expertise is in AI, right?
It is.
But most of the startup will start from like identify the customer's pain point before, and then just try to figure out the solutions and kind of linearly progress to the other applications. But it seems that Appier works in the other ways. You guys have very strong technologies. Then can you just share me probably about how could you identify the right markets after you have these core technologies?
I see. So I will actually say we identify the need first before we build the technology, and then as I said, like we recognize this. At this current cross-screen era, there are a lot of difficulties different parties are facing around these devices. And the reason, so that's how we build this technology. And then for every application that we try to apply this technology into, we actually have these all the development actually came from the market feedbacks from customers or from people in this industry. So we are very close to the market, and we listen to them very carefully. Yeah.
So still lots of the product market fit, those kind of things.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. I think because from our own past experience, so I don't know if you are aware of. So this is actually our ninth platform. We pivoted 8 times before this current platform launch. Yeah.
So many iterations.
Yeah, exactly. But as other speaker just
enough,
shared,
I think Appier's model is more like a B2B. Right.
It is a B2B model.
Yeah, instead of B2C. So a common nature and challenge for B2B startup is that we probably get less opportunities, right? To run the to sell. I mean, especially for the big clients.
Yes and no. I think it depends on the DNA of the team. Because for ourselves, among all those 8 pivots that we went through, the first 3 were actually B2C products. We were game studios in the very beginning, and the reason is not we never really specifically define which industry we want to be into, but the most important thing is that we have always wanted to build an AI-based large-scale system, which combines the strengths of our core team, and then we started exploring, and then in the very beginning, in the B2C market, we realized since our team, our core team is from pretty much engineers and scientists, so we are very programmatic. Okay. We know probably if we can listen to a very clear sector feedback, then we can actually build really good product to that. Yeah.
A follow-on question is that you guys has expanded business to so many countries, and a challenge for the Taiwanese startup is that we lack in the marketers and the BD guys to help us to achieve that. Could you elaborate a little bit more about how could you make your talents ready, and what's your recruiting process, and how could you train those employees?
So I would say we are quite fortunate. So I think talent is key to everything, especially the foundation of the company. So we are lucky enough that our co-founders, originally we all came from different backgrounds and very diverse expertise. And we are able to identify all the talents that we need in order to make this business model successful. So, of course, from the engineering side, that's no problem. Everybody knows Taiwan have great software engineers, so we are fortunate on that. But I think once you have the right team, you build a good product, and then you start to have a little reputation in the market, then that's when you start really being able to attract great business people, including marketing as well as BD or sales. So I think it's step by step. So in the very beginning, we did not have the luxury, but now I think we do have a great team. Yeah.
Okay. So how many team members you have now?
We are, I think in the beginning of the year, we are more than 100, and then we are aiming to reach 200 by the end of this year, and we are right on track. Yeah.
That's terrific. Wow, what progress. And what a career change you've made.
It's fun. I enjoy both of them. I still love immunology, to be honest, but I love what I'm doing as well now. Yeah.
Okay, good. Any questions from the audience? Okay, Peter.
I'm very happy to see fellow Stanford alumni sitting up here.
Much.
I'm definitely older than you are, but it's okay.
I'm a
Great
little
job.
old too,
Yeah.
compared to our colleagues.
Very happy to see a startup in Taiwan doing this. I have a question. If you were to rank the difficulty between the accuracy of artificial intelligence for you guys, natural language processing now that you're in global market, and speed versus accuracy when you are doing matching for your B2B customers, right? Because within a snap of a second, you will need to do that matching and send that ad to whatever screen size you have. If you were to rank the difficulty of these versus the talents in Taiwan, whether they are able to supply against these ranks of difficulty, do they match each other? Thank you.
So, to be honest, I think the difficulties to bring up the accuracy in all the fields that you just mentioned, they are equally hard in different ways. So it requires a different set of talents for that too. But I think I would say Taiwan is a really great place for software engineers. It's one of the best pool in Asia, really, especially for artificial intelligence, because it requires certain innovation and creativity that is not always there in some of the Asian countries. So I do think we have a great talent pool here, and I think the best part of the team is that because we do have Shihan himself is a really solid trained AI scientist. So in the very beginning, we were able to attract and identify the best talents. And like a lot of people out there today will say they do machine learning or AI, but the level of sophistication we're trying to achieve that actually makes us very aggressive but selective when we are finding right talents for the team. Yeah.
Other questions?
Another question? Yeah. Yeah, Edward? We're getting the VCs to ask all the questions here.
Hi. So I think you just mentioned the amount of sophistication that goes into the AI development. I just want to get your view on how you feel about all the sort of the Microsofts, the Googles. They're releasing a ton of APIs. IBM Watson has been doing very well. It's permeating into a lot of different industries. Do you see that as kind of the playing field getting leveled, or is that something you guys will leverage? Sort of, what's the perspective from Appier's perspective?
I think we are actually happy to see AI becoming so important. We ourselves foresee that already, but it's good that everybody is recognizing it, because when we founded this company, so Appier platform was found 3 years ago, and then we actually formed the team building the games already almost 6 years ago. So at that time, our dream has always been utilizing AI to build large-scale system. So and also I think you ask people who like Shihan, who has been in AI field for 15 years, he will say today is really probably the golden age of AI comparing to 15 years ago when he almost like the winter of AI, where only DARPA was founding all the robotics part of the AI. So nowadays, I think this is actually great because we believe AI can be applied to a lot of different fields and help people to make things, facilitate things a lot better and faster, and even probably more accurately and cost effectively. So I am very looking forward to everybody's innovation. Yeah.
That's fascinating. Thank you so much. Very interesting. Arthur and Winnie.